in the northern part of Tanzania. And then we have Anglo Gold Ashanti, the oldest mining site in Tanzania, which dates back into the early, should I say early 20th century or 19th century, something like that. And then we have Resolute Mining Limited, which also has a lot of stake in the northern part of Tanzania and in the Tabora region, and those are the statistics on the amount of gold in their areas. Now, the coming of Barrick Gold Corporation came in with a stomp. Over 70 artisanal miners were buried alive in the shafts. Something which Barrick Gold Corporation is refusing, because you know, when you buy a stake from another company, we normally believe that you also take all the liabilities. But there is this complexity. I don't know whether it is complexity or should I call it shrewdness in the part of Barrick Gold Corporation, which is actually continuing even today with the coming of uranium mining in Tanzania, that actually Barrick Gold Corporation bought all the liabilities from Saturn Resources. But they continued actually claiming, you know, going by the flagship of Saturn Resources. Even when the killings took place, they still claim that, no, it's not us, it's Saturn Resources. All right? It's Saturn Resources, it's not us. But at that moment, they actually had ownership of the site in Kahama. There has been a lot of, obviously, displacement issues and a lot of environmentally mitigated displacement from mining activities in Tanzania, and that cuts across the board. Aman is here among us today, and he would actually witness that it's not only Barrick Gold Corporation which is committing such crimes against humanity in Tanzania, particularly those living in mining areas, but also Anglo Gold Ashanti, where we still have families fragmented and a number of people have died, and no one goes to their help because they're refugees who even the refugee, the Refugee Act does not help. And then Golden Pride in the Tabora region also has displaced quite a number of people. Now, I just want to give you a picture. I believe you've seen this several times. This is what happens when a mining corporation or company comes into Tanzania or in any other African country. At least this is something which is shared not only in Tanzania, but also in Zambia and in Malawi and in a number of other African countries where we have very good policies, yet enforcement of such policies are actually being interfered with by the other tricks which you know, the multinational companies play upon us, using obviously the heavy hands of their government. So we normally talk about the game of the carrot and the stick. You know, if you allow us to do this in your country, then aid will come to you. If you don't allow us to do this in your country, or if you cannot silence the civil society organizations and those whistleblowers in your countries who are like informers to the NGOs in our home countries who make our lives difficult, we are not going to give you aid. And I believe that recently you heard that Canada cut funds, you know, donor funds to a number of African countries. Surprisingly, even the darling land, Tanzania, have the cut. And I believe that you also know that there has been, probably you heard that there has been a lot of manhunt, you know, or witch hunt in Tanzania going on when a number of European countries refused to give Tanzania aid. And then Canada also said they're going not to give Tanzania aid to support particularly health sector and education sector, and some of us are a living example of actually running away for safety reasons from Tanzania. So this is what happens. When mining company comes into our countries, what happens is that there is a break in the family fabric. And these pictures were taken from different, this I took from Zega, this one I took from Gaeta, and I'm just showing that they are all crying. Because the father will go that way, the mother will go this way, the children will go to relatives who live in other areas, and therefore there is no security either side. The other thing is that people go in destitution, and this is a site where the 381 family members from different families were actually put. These children, this was the most difficult experience I ever had. That we had some piece of bread, we were traveling to Gaeta, and these children actually grabbed this and they were fighting for it. So this one was actually trying to run away from the other child who also wanted a grab on that. They were hungry, there is destitution, and they live in shacks like this, in cold, there's no water, there is no sanitary infrastructure in these areas. This is what mining does in Tanzania and in Zambia. But also on the other side, the environment. This is what they do. Barrick Gold Corporation, this is 2009, May, when they decided to let loose toxic sludge from their tailings dam to actually flow freely in the local fields, in farms, and this was how it was. And this is the place where actually they opened a trench so that it can go down, and this is how it looks like when it goes into people's fields. And that actually causes a lot of health hazards. This is what it looks like. Sadly, this lady died a few weeks ago. I heard about this when I was away from Tanzania. And this man, we visited him several times. He's still there. We're trying to mobilize some help for these people because the government has abandoned them, and whenever civil society organizations try to talk about these issues, then we are told that we are propagandists and we don't tell anything which has any truth in it, and if you continue on it, then obviously they will deal with you perpendicularly. And we have some other new developments in Tanzania, and we are scared like hell. I mean, I'm scared. I'm here in Canada, but I'm scared for my people back home. What is going to happen? Who is going to talk on their behalf? Because the activists' circle is dwindling because of intimidation and threats, and so we find it a bit of a hotbed for us to be at home. We have uranium now, and if you want to ask who came first, I know that anytime any company in Australia or in America or wherever, but particularly in Australia, thinks of a mining investment in Africa, the place where they will come to enlist is Canada. You're aware of that, isn't it? And so we had Mantra Resources and Uranex resources. And in Zambia and Malawi, Uranex is called African Energy. You know, very sexy names to ensure that actually they have something related to Africa, but they're not African. And in Tanzania, it was Mantra Resources and Uranex. And after all the work, the groundwork was done, now it is Uranium One. Where does Uranium One come from? Canada. It's Canada. It's Canada. The great Canada which has actually driven my people away from their places. The great Canada which has actually also got me out of my country. It's the same Canada which is now going to mine uranium. No public awareness among community members. Community members have been told that, you know, when the explorers were going, exploration was going on, they were told, we are actually trying to look for minerals which are going to help us boost, you know, develop further in communication system. Or we are actually doing research on malaria. I have the study, a short study I carried out. I think that I will have to wait for a little while before it's circulated, but those are the stories. And people have started dying in those areas. There is a good uranium mineralization in a number of places in Tanzania, and we don't know what's going to happen. There has not been a proper environmental and social impact assessment carried out. There has not been proper information passed on to the local communities. And then we have oil and gas, and this also is posing a lot of problems in Tanzania, and the indicators are that actually oil is being found in Tanzania, in the southern part and closer to the coastal area of Zanzibar and Pemba. So we are actually bracing ourselves for the worst. And The most the most recent development is the whole issue of rare earths. You've heard about rare earth business, and it's all in Tanzania. Now, when you look at the litany of problems that has rocked the Tanzanian mining sector, and the way the international community, international development community, who actually say that they're friends of Tanzanians or friends of Tanzania in terms of Canadian government or some of the governments in the European community. I worked for a Norwegian international aid agency, and as we worked for a number of, actually it took only 16 months, then we realized that, oh, the Norwegian pension fund is actually invested in both Barrick Gold Corporation and Anglo Gold Ashanti. And here we are actually being paid by the same organization. We are actually doing a lot of work here. Why can't we challenge these people? And thankfully it worked, and they listened. And I believe you heard that the Norwegian pension fund actually was divested from Barrick Gold Corporation. And it was good news to us. And due to all this, we normally look for solidarity, and we have needs. And I believe that, for me, the greatest need of the day is not for you to give a lot of money. The greatest need of the day is for us as humanity to embrace the Ubuntu spirit and say, you are because I am. Without me, you are not. And if you fight my fight, if you support my cause, then we support the protection of Mother Earth, and we support humanity, and that we can work along, the southern and the northern partners, to work together for justice and to protect our dignity together.